This is More to Say with Randy Naughton. Interesting conversations with interesting people. We welcome you into another edition of the More to Say podcast with Randy Naughton. Thank you so much for all of your support over the past couple of years. We really appreciate it. In case you haven't done so yet, follow me on social media. I'm pretty much everywhere. You'll see me posting about not only this podcast and the amazing guests that we have, but I'm a huge sports fan. You know that. I love sports, having covered sports as part of my career. I'm a huge animal lover. I'm big into animal photography, and I do some cooking, and I'm living life after being retired from TV after 40 years in that business. I'd like to thank our sponsors of the More to Say podcast, the Lent Mansion in St. Louis. Seriously, what are you waiting for? It is a hidden gem in an historic building in the Brewery District, and it's got an amazing history. It's got amazing food. It's got amazing events. Talk about like things like boozy bingo or a scavenger hunt or an escape room or cool dinners and just kind of all kinds of stuff. Lentmansion.com is where you want to go. Grab your buds and head out. It's really a lot of fun. By the way, I won third place in the scavenger hunt when I did that last time. We'd also like to thank an organization called Team Jakey. They just kind of launched a semi-new website called teamjakey.org. And basically what they want to do is end the stigma of mental illness. This family, the Zeller family, knows all too well what the impact of losing a loved one to suicide can do. So they decided to do something positive and start this organization and help others to end the stigma of mental illness. And of course, the Mostly Superheroes podcast with my friend Logan Janis, who not only is one of the hosts, and I call him the ultimate hype man for St. Louis, but he's also our podcast partner who helps us put on all the technical stuff every time we do one of these episodes. So thank you to everybody. So today's episode is about pet care, and it's about veterinary care, and it's about how important they are to our lives. In fact, I got my little guy Thor sleeping right next to me right now. They're important. I love animals. I've had pets my whole life, basically, and I know many of you have as well. I read an article not too long ago. It was in the Boston Globe. It says that veterinary prices have increased more than 60% in the past decade. That's according to federal data. But an increasing number of Americans have had to surrender their pets because they simply can no longer afford them. And also, veterinary prices are going up and down. They're finding out that a lot of major corporations like the Mars Candy Company, they're taking over independent veterinary practices. And because they're kind of overseen by these corporate overlords, they're raising all these prices. I don't know about you, but veterinary care for my little dude who's elderly, he's a 14, 15-year-old guy. Right, Thor, I'm talking about. I got to get him and show you. Come here, Lovey. Come here. All right, don't fight. Come here. He's literally growling at me. Anyway, this is Thor. He's a 15-year-old little dachshund mix, but the veterinary bills I've noticed huge. They've gone. You went down. Okay, buddy. Bye, everybody. Anyway, veterinary bills have gone up. So I'm like, who can we talk to about this? What can we do about it as pet owners? And what are others seeing? So I thought I would talk to two animal entities in the bi-state area. One in Missouri is the Animal Protective Association, whom we'll speak with later. But right now, I'd like to welcome in Alicia Vianello. She is the executive director of Gateway Pet Guardians out of the Metro East, out of East St. Louis. Thank you for joining us. I know it was a long intro, but I kind of had to make those points. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm here with my foster dog. His name's Tiny Tim.
I love it.
Is a senior Chihuahua who he's disabled. He's actually missing a foot and some toes.
Poor
But he's
baby.
adoption. He's doing great. So he's going to be hanging out with us today.
So I want to ask you because you also, this is what you do. You adopt pets, you help people understand what pet care means, vaccination clinics, things like that. Are you hearing from any people who may be surrendering their pets or, oh, I can't get a pet or a dog or a cat because of the veterinary bills? I don't want to put words into your mouth, but you tell me, Alicia, what are you hearing on your end in the Metro East?
Yeah, I mean it's a huge problem. You're seeing it everywhere, and where we are, there are no vet clinics. It is a resource desert. So we are actually the only vet clinic, and we serve 6 zip codes. So East St. Louis, Cahokia Heights, Fairmont City, Washington Park, and there is nothing here for pet owners. So not only is this a more low income area that has limited income, they're also there's nowhere for them to go. But now that we're here, and if we can't get them in, they're having to either go across the river or drive a long way, or they may not be able to afford it. They might not have transportation. It's really been a huge challenge.
So do you see people bringing their pets in there saying, I just can't afford it anymore?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are overwhelmed because they can't afford it. They don't know what to do. Thankfully, we do have our low cost clinic, is how we combat it. So we do offer, so anytime someone says that to us, we're like, hey, if you're in our service area, we offer low cost medical care for you. And it's even cheaper if you get your pet spayed or neutered through us, which is free. So we try to combat it the best we can. Unfortunately, we did have a veterinarian pass away, and so we have really limited capacity, which
Hmm.
does make it harder for people to get in. So we're seeing that quite a bit. We're also seeing there's a real lack of affordable, pet-friendly, pet-inclusive housing. The price of pet food along with vet care has also skyrocketed due
Yeah.
to all the costs that these pet food companies are getting. So owning a pet is really expensive, and it's so hard because everyone deserves the love of a pet. You shouldn't have to have a certain income level to be able to receive the love of a pet. And oftentimes, a lot of low income pet owners don't go out and acquire pets. They find them, like in our community, they roam into their yard. Their tenant moves out and leaves them. Their nephew moves out and leaves their pets. We just see that over and over. And then people are like, hey, I got this dog or cat and I want to keep it, but I can't afford its care. What do I do? So we're really trying our best to help that community.
Yeah, and back to the pricing of veterinary care, I go to a private veterinarian, which I noticed has expanded to multiple locations now under the
Hmm.
same name. And I'm like, I am wondering if this what was I thought was an independent veterinary practice, if it's now private equity firms and big corporations.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't ask. And again, my dog is elderly and unfortunately I won't have him forever. And I understand that. As a pet owner, you know all too well that, they're not here long as you want them to be.
Hmm.
But what do we do? Do we seek out organizations like yours? And you only have so many
Yeah.
resources as well.
Right. I mean, the United States needs so much more nonprofit medical clinics. You see a lot of like vaccine clinics that are nonprofit that might be more affordable, but the actual medical care is what people need to keep their pets. So when they're sick or injured, being able to afford care. And then even if you go to a private practice and you can't afford it, they might have like care credit. Well, you have to be able to qualify for care
Yeah.
credit, which a lot of people can't. So we actually offer a program called vet billing that has interest-free, no credit checks. That's another thing. People may not even qualify with their credit. So between the interest and the credit, it's really hard. So we offer this so that people can have payment plans. But really, I think there needs to be so much more in the nonprofit world. Unfortunately, vet care is expensive for
Yeah.
us. So the prices that we charge don't cover our costs, which rely on donations and grants to be able to make up the difference. We're currently partnering with PetSmart Charities, and they have a program called the Accelerator Program, and they're actually investing in nonprofits who are having medical clinics because they saw this need and really wanted to move forward. And so it's like a 4-year program. You have business analysts who work with you. And so we've been really lucky to have them to help fund our clinic and help us keep going.
Well, I see a lot of people with pets, and unfortunately, some situations where it might get out of hand, where the animal is suffering from,
Hmm.
mange, or the cat has feline leukemia because they were not properly vaccinated. To
Right.
no fault of their own, some people just don't understand what is and what is not available. Like for instance, when you just mentioned that there is a program that if you qualify, you can get
Hmm.
help as far as that based on your credit rating and things like that.
Hmm.
I mean, I know pet insurance also is sometimes expensive,
Right.
and that helps. My daughter has that, and it's helped with her two dogs. But how do I've always said don't get a pet if you can't afford it,
Mm,
because it is another member of the family. It is another living and human and breathing entity that has to eat and get medical care. And, like you said, everybody should be able to have the love of a dog
right.
or a cat or a pet. And it's like, it makes everything all better. It really, really does.
It
And so
does.
I love the work you guys are doing at Gateway Pet Guardians, that you are helping low income families obtain that new family member and obtain them to a healthy standard that helps them live longer. It's really great. What other programs do you offer there?
So we try to offer a one-stop shop for pet owners. We are a rescue. We take in dogs and cats, get them better, adopt them out, but we also have our pet resource center. So we have an affordable pet retail store so you can buy your pet supplies. We have scoop your own pet food for 50 cents a pound or so that way we get donated food or open bags. We just dump it in the bin and people can scoop it out. We do have a free pet food pantry for those who qualify in our service area. We do spay neuter, vaccines, the clinic. We have a groomer. Unfortunately, she's so booked that she's not able to take
Yeah.
new clients, but affordable grooming. Some people don't realize grooming is an essential part of pet care, especially for dogs with long hair. Like we've seen Shih Tzus who their hair will just grow and grow, who actually lose legs because the hair like
Oh,
wraps around it. So people don't always think about that as an essential service, but it really is. And grooming is really expensive now. So we offer affordable grooming. And so we're just trying to do everything we can. If a pet owner comes to us and says, "Hey, my dog keeps running away. What can I do?" We can get them a tie out, or we can have solutions for them. So we're just trying to do everything we can. Shelters are already overcrowded, and we don't
yeah.
want to see people lose their pets anyway.
Absolutely. The veterinary care, the dedication, the commitment it takes to have a pet, it's a lot. So if you're
Mhm.
thinking about, getting your 4-year-old a puppy for, it is a lot. And properly caring for a pet can start that young of an age. So I just love what
Right.
you guys do in the Metro East. I love it. And I looked on your website today and I saw some of the cute little events that you have. You have a drive-through vaccine clinic, obviously, which is great. People can look for that. And you had something, what is it? Oh, what did I write down? Bingo games? You had me at bingo.
Oh, yeah, we have a bingo fundraiser in October at Bell Vegas Bingo Hall in Belleville. It's super fun, raises a lot of money for us. We also have, so our headed tagline or slogan is Beyond Rescue. So we don't just rescue dogs and cats, we go beyond rescue, again, to help pet owners. So we are actually doing our biggest fundraiser of the year. It's coming up August 14th and 15th. So if you go follow us at Gateway Pet Guardians on Facebook, Gateway Pets on Instagram, we'll be telling stories, and we'll be trying to raise critical funds. We have matching donors, so your donation's doubled. We'll have certain power hours where your donation is tripled, because we don't get any government funding. I would love to see the government invest more in animals, especially, in St. Clair County has a very, very small animal care or animal control budget.
Right.
And across the country, you just really don't see the government really investing in pets. But when you invest in pets, you're investing in people. And there's so much data that shows that having a pet is so good for people. So since we don't get any government money and we rely so much on donations, this is a really critical fundraiser for us so we can keep saying yes and helping more pets.
Yeah. So if anybody's out there listening and they want to kind of help you, you are a
Mhm.
nonprofit, or maybe get involved in some of these fun events that you put on,
Yeah.
where do they find all those resources?
Gatewaypets.org is our website, or if you just search Gateway Pet Guardians, it should pop up, and all of our social media should pop up as well.
All right. Well, Alicia Vianello, we appreciate your time. She's the executive director of Gateway Pet Guardians. And as I mentioned, we are going to talk with the Animal Protective Association of Missouri as well about
Yeah.
what they're seeing in the state of Missouri, because even though, they're in different areas, the problem is
Mhm.
widespread. Bi-state
Yes,
area,
absolutely.
Midwest area, it's nationwide. So thank you for joining us on the More to Say podcast.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Hi, everyone. It's Randy Naughton from the More to Say podcast with another sponsor shout out. When is the last time you've been to the Lemp Mansion in St. Louis? Did you know it is one of the most haunted places in all of North America with an incredible history? It's a beautiful building, first of all, and they've got so many events. When's the last time you've been there? They've got boozy bingo, holiday brunches, events like weddings and parties, a scavenger hunt, overnight stays, if you dare, Spirit with the Spirit tours, and their legendary all-you-can-eat family-style fried chicken dinners on Sundays. It's amazing. So listen, check it out on their website at lempmansion.com. We thank them for supporting our More to Say podcast, and I'll see you at the Lemp. Hi, everyone. It's Randy Naughton from the More to Say podcast. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast over the tons of episodes we've done so far. Somebody I want to shout out specifically to is an organization called Team Jakey. They are one of the sponsors of the More to Say podcast, and I couldn't be more grateful to be partnering with them. What is Team Jakey? Well, this family, the Zeller family, knows all too well what it's like to lose somebody to suicide. So that happened to them. Their beloved Jake took his own life. And what they want to do, they've set out on a quest to end the stigma of mental illness. So Team Jakey puts together all these amazing community events year round to help raise the awareness and prevent suicide and end the stigma of mental illness. So we would love it if you followed them on Facebook, Team Jakey and the Stigma. And of course, thank you for supporting the More to Say podcast as well. Team Jakey is one of our partners, and we are so happy to have them on board. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the podcast.
Now you're hearing from us over here on the podcast, Mostly Superheroes. I'm your host, Logan Janis.
Arena Andy. Scotty Scoop.
Sam the Sleeper.
And we're bringing you all the things in St. Louis and beyond, from events and interviews,
Sports and movies. Comics and games.
To community and news.
all the things that you need to stay informed, have a little fun. It's all happening at mostlysuperheroes.com, and we'll see you there.
And we pick up our conversation about the costs of pet care, home pet care, veterinary care, all that stuff. On the Missouri side of the river, we already talked to the folks in Illinois with the Gateway Pet Guardians about how pet costs have skyrocketed and how people are handling it, because let's be honest, we love our critters and we will do anything for our critters. So I thought it would be a great idea also to get the perspective of the APA, the Animal Protective Association of Missouri. And we have with us Sarah Javier, who is the president and CEO. Thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I'm happy to be here.
And of course, pets. People love their pets. And my previous guest, I told them that this got me thinking about an article I read recently in the Boston Globe, how general veterinary prices and rates and things like that have pretty much skyrocketed over the last 10 years or so. In fact, they put a figure of 60%. That and then they're talking about how sometimes private equity firms and major conglomerates are taking over a lot of these mom and pop veterinary offices, and it's all kind of running along one particular formula. So, and I know you guys do so many wonderful things at the APA, the Animal Protective Association. We'll get into the meat and potatoes of the costs and things like that and what you're seeing, but let's talk about the APA and what you guys do first. Tell us about your organization. I know it goes way beyond pet adoption.
It does. So the APA has been around for over 100 years, serving the St. Louis community. We're located in Brentwood, and we do so much more than pet adoption. So we do several thousand adoptions per year. But in addition to that, we not only believe in bringing people and pets together, but keeping them together. So we offer a wellness clinic where people can come and get vaccinations for their pets and just general wellness. We also do outreach programs that support pet owners, such as free vaccinations, free spay-neuter, pet food for families who are maybe struggling to feed their pets. We also do education programs such as summer camps, animal safety. We go into senior living communities, and we also have programs that support people who maybe need a little bit of help, such as our program Safe Care that provides temporary foster care to pets for people who are trying to leave a violent relationship, because in many instances, those individuals will stay in a violent relationship to protect their pet. So we mitigate that barrier to getting to safety by providing that temporary care, allowing the individual to get to safety, and then reuniting them. So there's
That's
much that we
amazing.
do.
Yeah, all of these different programs that maybe a lot of people don't realize that you do. And this goes year round. Of course, you have puppy season, kitten season, of course, in the springtime, but let's talk about the need. Especially in the last year in the St. Louis area with the devastating tornadoes of that happened throughout St. Louis in May. Did you see a large influx of people looking for help in these areas?
So we have seen a huge increase over the past year. In fact, when we looked at our numbers for the first part of this year as compared to last year, our intake at the APA more than doubled. So we have seen a lot of people in need of help for a variety of different reasons, including what you mentioned
Yeah.
about increased costs of caring for a pet. There's also the issue of finding housing that will allow pets. And in some cases, it's just not affordable for people to have their pet. Our goal, of course, is to help people keep their pets by helping support some of those needs that they have.
It is incredible. I do have a number here, and I believe it is from that same article in the Boston Globe. The lifetime cost of health care for a dog can range from $20,000 to $55,000 throughout the life of that animal, while for a cat, it's $15,000 to $45,000 a year. And a lot of people who go in and say, "Oh, we want to look at puppies," and "Oh, we're going to bring home a puppy," and you know what? I've worked with some local animal shelters before, and I see a lot of people who don't kind of use forward thinking, and they say, sure, in the moment we love this baby and we want to cuddle and love it and bring it home, but they don't understand the costs that come with it. It's like if you can't afford a pet, don't bring a pet home. And these are real numbers that the researchers have done. Have you seen people? I mean, I know of some cases where people literally will go without eating themselves in order to take care of their pets. That's how important they are to them.
Yes, I would agree with that. I would definitely say that that is something that we have experienced. It's one of the reasons that we started in looking at pet food distribution to the community. We started partnering with human serving food pantries. One of the things that people experience is a barrier to transportation. So it's difficult to go one place to get food for your family, another place to get pet food if you're struggling. So we collaborate with those human serving pantries to get pet food to them, and then they can distribute it at the same time as humans are getting food to help themselves.
That is an amazing thing to do. And these are, pet organizations, in my opinion, because again, I've been involved with them for many, many years, Open Door Animal Sanctuary being one of them out in House Springs. But it seems like your role has evolved over the years from just taking in wayward puppies and kittens and stray dogs and things like that to all of these outreach programs. It's pretty incredible what you're offering, and I'm guessing it's a year-long endeavor.
That's true. We do it 365 days a year. Even on days that our shelter is closed for holidays, we still have to come in and take care of the pets. So this is something that we're passionate about. We're very committed to, and we also want to help keep pets in homes after we find homes for them.
Yeah, and that's the thing where people kind of realize, uh-oh, I made a mistake, and it happens, right? How often do you see it?
So I think that I would say that most people who do come in to adopt have considered the costs of the pet. And those are conversations that, we have before adoption and talking to an individual, sharing information. What I think we see more often is that there are circumstances that people could not have anticipated that contribute to this. So maybe it's, the loss of a job. And of course, we see a variety of things in our economy now. People losing a job, maybe that contributes to it. Sometimes it's a situation where there's a divorce or an individual passes away. And so there are a lot of unexpected things that I think contribute to this, because I feel like the majority of people who we see going into adoption have thought through this to some degree. Not everyone, but I would say most people do. But we just cannot anticipate the things that could happen.
Right. Do you hear at all people saying, "Uh-oh, I just can't afford it. I didn't realize."
Sometimes, yeah, there are always those individuals as well. They didn't realize how much work goes into owning a pet. They didn't realize maybe how much exercise they need, or the costs. And we do try to have those conversations. We also have programs that help individuals who find themselves, stuck in a situation where they're like, "Oh my goodness, this is going to cost so much." And I think one of those things, it's again unexpected, is your pet incurs an illness or an injury.
Right.
And very often, I think people can afford the vaccine costs or the annual costs, but people don't plan for the thousands of dollars surgery that might come up. And again, in an effort to mitigate that and keep pets in the home, one of the programs we have is called Hope Fund, and that actually is a program that people can apply to, and it will help support some of those veterinary services. Some of the costs we help cover some of that, so it's a little bit easier for the person to get the care that their pet needs.
Yeah, and all of my animals, and I have one left. He's Thor, and he's laying down right next to me. He's my little shadow. Every single one of my pets in my entire marriage have all been rescues. I've adopted them all from shelters, and they've turned out to be fabulous pets. People say, "Oh, I want a purebred." It's like you've got plenty of those in the shelters sometimes.
So,
On average, how many dogs and how many cats do you carry at the APA?
so at any given time, we can have roughly 200 pets. And that's like in the building. We also can have 100, 150 more in foster at any given time. The number fluctuates depending on the
Yeah.
time of year. As you said, we're in the throes of kitten and puppy season, so we're seeing lots of little ones this time of year. And the shelter tends to be fuller. Pet overpopulation is definitely a
Yeah.
concern. During COVID, we paused spaying and neutering because PPE needed to be prioritized in hospitals. And so a lot of shelters across the country, not just here in St. Louis, paused spaying and neutering so we could give those supplies to the hospitals. And what we're seeing now is the effects of that. And there's a veterinary shortage as well, which contributes to the problem. So catching up on spay and neuter that was paused during that time, combined with a shortage of veterinarians who can do spay neuter, creates a perfect storm in which we have lots and lots of pets.
Talk about that veterinary shortage. I didn't know that was a thing. Why do you suppose that's happening?
So I think that there are a number of different reasons for the veterinary shortage. I think it's very costly to go to veterinary school. It's also a profession that is known for high levels of compassion fatigue. It's very, very difficult to work with animals, and I think in human healthcare we have things that help us get the care that we need when we have an illness. Sometimes we see individuals who are coming in and maybe their pet is sick. They didn't plan for it. They can't necessarily afford it. But they want you to do everything you possibly can, even though they don't necessarily have the resources to help.
Right.
And that's a lot of burden, um, a lot of sort of guilt, I guess, on the veterinarian. And it contributes to compassion fatigue. People go into veterinary medicine because they care very deeply about,
Right, with the best intentions.
and you want to do everything you can. And unfortunately, sometimes you can't, and that's kind of it's a heavy weight.
Wow, I didn't know that was happening. I had no idea. All right, so I want to go over your free programs again and clarify, are these kind of for pet owners everywhere, or are they only for people who have adopted from the APA?
So it depends. Um,
Okay.
Most of the programs that we have are available to anyone who would want to apply. So, for
Hmm.
example, like Hope Fund, that is the fund that helps people with their veterinary expenses. We prioritize people in St. Louis County because that's our primary geographic area. And when you have so many people needing those resources, you have to find a way to prioritize. Same thing with some of our other programs. Um, like Safe Care, the domestic violence program. Again, we prioritize people who are in St. Louis County. However, we have had people outside of that geographic area who have reached out for services. And we're really the only place, the only animal shelter in the region that offers that program.
Yeah,
So
I've not heard of that before. That's pretty unique.
we've been doing this since 1997. And fortunately, there are companies like Purina, who has their Purple Leash project, who have started to really bring attention and awareness to the plight of pets in violent situations. We want people to be able to get to safety, so we try to help whoever we can. But again, we have so many requests for this program and finite resources that sometimes we have to prioritize certain geographic areas.
It's amazing that it's available and it's been going on so long, and you're the only one with that program, which is, to me, that's amazing. I'd not heard of that program before. Okay, for those who might be interested in maybe bringing in a new family member, do you adopt more dogs or cats? I'm guessing it's dogs.
So it's interesting. It's about 50-50.
Really?
I will tell you what I find really fascinating. So I've been with the APA since 2016. And when I first started, cats would sit for a little while and dogs would fly out the door. Now we're seeing the inverse of that. We can't keep enough cats in the shelter to accommodate the demand. And I think what that relates to, and we still do many adoptions of dogs as
Yeah.
well, it's large dogs that sit for a little while.
Yeah.
And I think all of that is because of housing. So many landlords are limiting the size of a pet. They're not allowing dogs in some instances, but they will allow cats. So we have seen more cats getting adopted. And like I said, large dogs are sitting for a little bit because it is harder to bring a large dog into a home.
Yeah, it is. My daughter is actually a property manager in the city of St. Louis, and they do have some restrictions on some of the properties about how you can have a dog, but it has to be small, or you can have a cat. So, and there are people who kind of sneak the animals in too. I know that for a fact because I've heard her on the phone. But let's talk about the adoption process. Do you feature the animals online, or must we come in to kind of see and cuddle for ourselves?
So we try to bring visibility to pets in lots of different ways. So people can visit our website at apamo.org, and there's an adoptable pets tab. So you can see at any given moment who is available in the shelter and learn a little bit more about them. And that information updates hourly. So we
Oh,
do
good.
adoptions every day. We also are regularly bringing in pets in a number of different ways. And so we keep that as current as possible. So it updates hourly. But we also encourage people just to stop in and take a look around and see the pets that are available. We also take them on TV. We have pets available at PetSmart locations. We take them to events. We have foster volunteers who have pets in their home, and
God
um,
bless them because I could
oh
never do
my
it. I would
goodness.
fall in love and be done. I could
You
never
know
do it.
what? I will say they talk about foster failures though, and if you're going to fail at something, deciding
Yes,
to keep a pet in your home is the very best kind of failure.
I so agree.
But yes, I agree with you. Volunteers, whether they be in the shelter or fosters, we could not do this work without them. So I would say if anyone's interested in adopting, maybe there's someone who's listening or watching who wants to learn more about some of our pet owner support programs. Or maybe they want to volunteer because they can't have a pet in their home for whatever reason.
You get
Um,
your critter fixed that way.
there's lots and lots of information on our website about how to get involved. I will also tell you about another quick critter fix type event that people can get involved in that we really love. And with fall right on the horizon, we have a couple of different just fun programs. We have pack walks. So you can come in, you can bring friends, you can, come in on your own. And we have organized pack walks where we walk as a group and we take dogs out for some enrichment. For people who want to go a little further, we have what's called Hike with a Hound. So we go to area St. Louis parks and go on hikes. We bring the dogs to you, you get paired up with one, you go on a hike. We have some of those pack walks that are combined with a happy hour, which is a lot of fun. And those are called our happiest hours.
Oh, these sound great.
Oh, it's so fun. And then we also have doggy dates. So if you don't want to be confined to a certain time when we're doing an event, much like a library book, you can come into the APA and say, hey, I just want to take a dog out for a couple of hours and go get a pup cup at Starbucks or go for a walk at a park. And then you bring them back when you're done. And so it's a nice way to get a little bit of a fix. Or if
And it's
someone's
good enrichment for the animal as well.
it is amazing enrichment. And the other thing that's great too is it exposes them to other people who may want to adopt.
Yeah.
And it gives us a little bit more information about that pet and what makes them so special so that we can tell potential adopters about that.
And I want to let people know that, you know, people might think, oh, a shelter dog, it's a street mutt, it's a mixed breed, blah, blah, blah. I personally have adopted three purebred golden retrievers out of shelters. So you do have purebred animals there for those who want them, right?
We do. So not all of the time. That's why watching that
Right.
website, but it is pretty frequently. It is not uncommon to get a purebred pet. Now, I will say at the AP, we do not breed label. So unless they come with some sort of paperwork that says this is what they are, we don't breed label. But sometimes you can look and see that purebred golden retriever.
Absolutely.
And no, and we actually we received several of those. In fact, many of our staff have adopted those very pets because all of the pets that we see here are wonderful. I'm a rescuer too. Mine are smoothies. So a mutt, they're a blend of lots of great things.
Yeah.
And I love them. They're great dogs.
Mine is a dachshund mix. He's about 20 something pounds. Again, laying right. He's my shadow, little Thor. And I rescued him off somebody from a Facebook page that said, hey, this little dude was wandering around. We can't keep him. Does anyone want him? And we had just lost one of our dogs. And I went to visit him and it was love at first sight, which it always is for me anyway.
Yeah. They're the best dogs. And I will say we've had dogs adopted from here that have gone on. We have 2 that have been adopted here that are search and rescue dogs.
Oh, awesome.
So those stereotypes about shelter pets
Yes.
are so wrong. And so I would encourage people to come in and take a look around. I guarantee that you'll fall in love.
Awesome. Okay. Once again, for those who might want to look at adopting a dog or a cat, volunteering, fostering, things like that, where can they go?
The first place to visit is our website, apamo.org, but also you can stop in and see us, and we're in Brentwood at 1705 South Hanley Road.
That is awesome. The Animal Protective Association of Missouri, Sarah Javier is the president and CEO. Thank you so much for enlightening us about your program and all the amazing things you guys do for animals and people in the region. I thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. And thank you for helping spread the word and for adopting.
Of course. And of course, we'd like to thank all of our sponsors for the More to Say podcast as well. Lemp Mansion in St. Louis, which is one of the most haunted places in all of St. Louis. LempMansion.com is where you want to go. Team Jakey, which is a 501c3. They have a brand new website called teamjakey.org, hoping to end the stigma of mental illness and hopefully preventing suicide. Of course, Mostly Superheroes, the podcast, and my podcast partner, Logan Janis, who is one of the hosts and also the producer of the More to Say podcast. So thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
This has been More to Say with Randy Naughton. Interesting conversations with interesting people. Be sure to like or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.